Let's go, girls. Welcome to Talk Wealthy to Me. I'm Michelle Taylor, founder of Women in Wealth. From breaking money myths to building wealth and achieving financial freedom, we're here to empower you to create your own path. Talk Wealthy. Now, join the conversation and let's change the way women think and feel about money. Okay, ready? Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Talk Wealthy to Me. I'm Michelle Taylor, and I am so looking forward to you meeting my guest today, Samantha Propper. She is somebody who started off in a field that she didn't feel appreciated or that she was making an impact, and she pivoted and used so much of what she learned and really just her own grit to go out, become a business owner, and really leave a legacy for the people that needed her most. You're going to love this. So let's get right into it. Okay, so you guys are going to love this conversation. Samantha, welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So you, like most of the guests that are on here, are doing amazing things in business. You are a wife, you're a friend, you're a daughter, all of the things. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure. So I feel like I think most entrepreneurs are women of many hats, right?
Yeah.
My background, I'm a CVT cardiovascular technologist. So think like cath lab, heart attack patients, those types of things are what my trade was before I do what I do now. I went into education from the program that I graduated from to teach essentially the younger generation of healthcare professionals. And then I started my business at that same time while also working in the medical device industry for heart pumps when I left the hospital. I'm somebody, well, when we talk about money, who has always had like 2 to 3 jobs, you know.
The hustle.
Yeah, the hustle, always saying yes to opportunity. And then when you look on a Google Calendar, it ends up being way too much, than you bargained for. In 2024, I left all of that and decided to run my business full time. It was one at the time for cath lab education. So I make visual textbooks and I do a lot of free online visual resources. And then I did the same thing, but for like a sister niche for electrophysiology for people who implant pacemakers, do ablations for heart arrhythmias to kind of terminate those. So they're related, yet to them, if you're working in it, very, very different. Okay. So I have a business for each of them. And then now I've always done a little bit of consulting. That's kind of what my brands are under to help other small businesses and entrepreneurs. Now I'm just officially putting a name behind it. And then I'll start leaning into that a little bit and helping the medical device field also with their education for their employees. So it's a shared ecosystem, right? But we all have our little segments. And weirdly, I have experience in all of it.
So you basically have a ton of spare time on your hands, it sounds like.
Absolutely. I go on a lot of cruises because they're very efficient.
Okay. I like it. As, anything efficient is a good thing.
Yeah.
How did you decide to leave a corporate career and then become a business owner? Because I know from the outside looking in, it can seem like a lot of fun. And truthfully, it is. But that's a big jump. And not everybody thinks about doing that. Yeah. So tell me how that kind of evolved.
Good question. And if anybody who knows me knows I love stability. I love financial stability. I love predictability. That's why I never did like bartending or serving because I felt that was very volatile. I would rather make a little less but have a predictable income to do my budget. So that's kind of how I always was. And leaving all of that behind to take a chance was a very big gamble. My husband was very supportive. And I think I decided, things happened at the academics at the time that made me want to leave, but it was an overnight decision. It was like Friday, I felt this is what I need to do. I think I need to leave, and then I'll just lean into my business 100%. And Monday I turned in my notice. So I fulfilled my notice, but I turned in my notice.
I mean, that's amazing. So did you have, it was a quick decision, but did you have anything in place to say, this is where I'm headed, this is what I'm going to do? Or did you turn in your resignation and go out into the car and call your husband and say, guess what I just did? Holy cow.
Yeah. No, I mean, I did have success, right? I had success in the business. I didn't know 100% what it was going to look like. Like, is this something that I can have longevity in? Can I sustain my income? But I hate to say this, I was making so little as a college professor that I was making equal to what I was being paid. So I knew bills wise, okay, well, I'm making now what I'm making here, so it can replace my income. And that's, of course, the stability. I was like, I know my budget. I know as long as it's replacing my income, I can leave. And then whatever comes later is whatever comes later. But that was the one like tick on the box for me of, okay, I can kind of make this change. And if I'm only giving 20% now, it has to only grow if I'm giving my 100%, right? If I'm giving it my full-time attention.
It's a great way to look at it. And now, is your husband a business owner, or is he in? Okay. Well, so in that was a little bit, I'd imagine some security there,
Yeah.
stability. At least you have one stable 9 to 5 that would allow you to be a little bit more of a risk taker.
Yes. And I had done it before. So like I've had, if you think about my jobs, 2 or 3 career pivots. So one, when I worked in the hospital, I pivoted and I went into teaching, and I did that during COVID, which was not the time probably to change careers when everybody else is getting laid off, right? And it was a gamble, and I did have to take temp jobs, and I did have to take a temp job with the college that paid maybe $40,000 for the year. It was nothing compared to the workload that I was doing, waiting for a full-time actual position with benefits to open. So I knew how to make opportunity and make money if I needed it. I've always said, okay, if shit completely hits the fan, I can go work at McDonald's. I can go to do this. Like, I'm not above anything when I need to pay my bills, right?
I love that you said that, because I think so often people are scared to take the jump, even if they have always wanted to be an entrepreneur or start a business, or even just ask for a different role or a promotion because of the what if, right? And the reality is there are some people that acknowledge, I am able-bodied. If something happens, I can go out and figure it out. And I have a really good friend that she built a business with her ex-husband. When they got divorced, she walked away, and she said, I didn't have to consider the money because I knew if I had to go out and scoop ice cream, I would. And I think that that's a unique characteristic, and it has probably helped you in being a business owner, because as much as you love stability, being able to bet on yourself allows you to take a little bit more risk. So I think that you are probably uniquely positioned to do this. And now you've just been pushed out of the nest, and here we go. So has it been everything that you thought it would be?
A lot more. And part of me, there are a lot of belief systems, right? From when in childhood and growing up and through making college work that you have around money. And I always have this fear of one day everything's going to be taken away from me. So I don't, historically, and I'm working on it, I don't dwell on it too much. Like it is above and beyond everything that I could have imagined. It's the most money that I've ever made. I've never been able to give like back to charity or back to the community or taken time off whenever I want to. I've just never been able to do that. So all of those things, 100%, it's been worth it. But I still have those things in me of the overly cautious, right? Very protective, very, I remember I heard on one of your things that I refer my mom to a squirrel with her money all the time. But I learned those things, and they are little safety blankets, and I'm still that way. And I still, give myself almost the same income that I made before, just because that's what I need. And then I squirrel the rest away. Yep. And protect it for the one day of, if I do want to give it all away and completely change what I'm doing again, that now I have the financial means to do that. And that's the only reason I could career pivot before, because I had those little things in places where I'm like, you know what? If I don't have a job for 6 months, I'm fine.
Well, and I think it's important to note, and for anybody listening, obviously, we all know what we should do, but it's hard. So much of money is how you approach it. And even for me, I can sit here and tell you, this is what you should do. But then when it comes to myself, I may be not taking my own advice because of X. And that's where, in the world that I'm in, it's easy because there's no emotional tie to money. So it's easy to tell people what to do. Now, for you, seeing if your mom was a squirrel, and I talk about this all the time.
Loved it so much.
You don't realize as an adult, your actions are leaving imprints on the people watching you. And that obviously had an impact on you because you watched your mom do it. So now you're doing it. And it is good to be prepared. And I would tell anybody that's listening that's like, that's me, I'm a squirrel. I put a little bit of money in a bunch of different places. The reality is you can't change anything overnight, right? At least knowing that your money could be doing things for you is the first step, and just baby steps.
Yeah. And do what you're comfortable with, because if it's going to stress you out so much, then it's not worth it, right?
That's right.
If you're looking for peace and comfort, then do with it or put it somewhere that is going to give you that peace and comfort, so you don't have to worry about it. Or if you are a little more risky and strategic, like I'm a big CD person, because that's calculated risk, right? It's not all going to go away. That's where I kind of started of, well, let me put them in here, and then just have them for a rainy day and let them do their thing. And then you learn about interest that way. And still, my husband's all in the stock game and way better with that than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And him and my CPA push me all the time. And they're like, why do you just let this sit here? You could do this with this. And I'm like, I'll get there.
You'll get there.
Yeah, I'll get there. I'll learn, educate me on it. And then I'll take strategic risks.
That's right.
That I'm comfortable
Dip
with
your
and
toes
dip
in.
my toe. So that's definitely rooted in my mom. It's just with a little more income than I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad I'm not the person who just blows it on everything.
Well, and I was going to say, you also are just, there's an element of risk now that's been introduced. It's not like you have a stable, dependable income every month as a business owner and have a lot of money that is sitting aside that you're like, well, I mean, truly, you add in the risk of owning a business and that throws everything off balance. So what other things growing up, I think it's so interesting to unpack this with women, did you see that you think you've brought with you into adulthood around money? Were you guys having conversations around money? Were you part of a family that had scarcity mindset of just squirrel it away in case? Did you even talk about it? I mean, sometimes people don't.
My mom was overly educational about it. And be honest, and she's going to watch this, I didn't care or listen until I was about 18 in college. And I'm grateful. Outside of my home, I've never been in debt. I've never taken a loan. I didn't for my business. I think that's the only way I was comfortable growing it. And even now I scale it at segments that doesn't need me to do that. Mm-hmm. Correct. And it's just a belief system I had from her, and it did lead me to success. So can I really question it? Right. And I see what happens on the other side and the stress level that brings into people's lives, and then how they treat their children after that. So those things, the squirreling things away. Also weirdly around experiences in food. My mom's funny. She always says, food doesn't serve any purpose except to keep you alive. So who cares if it tastes good? I'm like, okay. All through college, I pretty much ate peanut butter sandwiches and shopped at, now we have Aldi, yay. But I had that mindset of, I just need water and peanut butter sandwiches. I don't need to spend money on this stuff. And
oh my gosh,
it worked.
I've never heard it put that way, but it is true.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tool, just like money. And this is what it's meant to do. And
it can be a luxury, right? If you want it to be. And now I enjoy those experiences with my husband. We do go out to eat once a week, at a small business near us to try to kind of give back a little bit.
Yeah.
But I had that for so long, probably up until I started my business, that I really had that. And there were periods of where I would get a little stressed about money. I'd go, okay, we don't need to eat out anymore. We can drink water. Water is free. We can do that. We don't need, sodas or teas or whatever. Where can I get my groceries? Can I sell things that I don't need anymore on Poshmark, on Mercari, and use that money to pay for my utilities and save this away? And I was always strategic like that because she taught me how to do that and how to be resourceful and how to have she grew up having multiple jobs at once to be able to make things work and to say, okay, well, I'm going to take this part-time job if I have this goal of this degree I want. Let me use this to help pay for that. Mm-hmm. And then don't use it for anything else. And I have those strategies still today.
You know what, though? I think that what's important for you guys listening to take with you from this is we all have the ability to go out and do more. It's not like, and so many times I hear people say, well, this is where I'm at in life and I'll never get there. And
I said that too.
Really, you can get there. Yeah. But what you were taught by your mom, by her leading by example, and I hope I do for my kids, is everything is figure outable. And if there's something that you want, go after it. Mm-hmm. There has to be a level of grit. And I genuinely believe if you looked at everybody that would consider themselves financially set or wealthy or whatever we want to call it, they would all have that quality of grit, figuring it out, and even when you're little, like you said, I have a friend, she was on the show, Lene, but she wrote a book for kids about, it's not just chores. I mean, that's fine, but teaching your kids how to think outside the box of how can I earn money for something I want. And in this little children's book that she authored, the kids in the story take broken crayons, melt them down into shapes, and then sell them. And then they use that money to go out and do things. And those are the kind of conversations that, listen, we may need to be having with ourselves first and foremost, if that's not in your kind of comfort zone of being a hustler. But if you are, don't keep those little lessons to yourself, because as Samantha just proved, they are being absorbed by example. So figuring it out. And I think that also allowed you to take the risk because everything is figure outable.
Yeah. And I went to originally what's planned for you, right? A 4-year university, go get this 4-year degree. But I was doing physical therapy and it had not a good job outcome. It ended up becoming a master's or doctorate level program eventually. And all I saw was debt. I was like, what is the point of me doing this 4-year degree to then I can't get a job? I still have to work my part-time retail job, 2 or 3 jobs, to go to school for another 3 years to have this unpaid internship to then maybe 75% chance of me getting a job. That didn't make sense to me. And I got my AA and then I left the university and claimed all those credits under there and went to a state college, which at the time, 2013, 14, my whole ecosystem from private schooling was so against that. They're like, what's wrong with you? You're not going to be successful. Yeah, It was a whole, why are you going to a trade school? But to me, I knew the field I was getting into. I knew it was a 2-year degree. It is an investment, but it was cheap. I knew that the starting pay rate at the time was high. It was $25 to $28 an hour, which is almost 10 years ago, which was a lot at the time. Now the starting is around high $30 an hour, which is not bad for a 2-year degree that costs you $11,000, right? So to me, it made sense, even though nobody understood and supported me. And even my mom pushed back a little bit. And I was like, Mom, Dad, didn't you teach me to not care what anybody else thinks? If you think this is what you're supposed to do, I have a plan. You know me, I did all the research. You know that I reached out to the program director and was like, how much am I making? How much does this cost? How many people have you employed? What does my outlook look like? I know what I'm doing, so I just need you to trust me. But my ecosystem did not support me. They did not understand because it was uncomfortable. Because even if they wanted to do that, they themselves were scared to do that and therefore were trying to get me to be scared, right? To validate their thinking. And I see that a lot with a lot of financial decisions because I'm scared to do investments. If someone else asks me about it, I'm like, oh, I don't know. But it's because I don't know. You do what you want to do. But sorry if that projected a little bit, but it's something that makes me uncomfortable because I don't have knowledge about it. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just I'm not familiar and not confident. But you see that and you hear that so much when people make these seemingly shifty decisions, right? Or big decisions in their life and big financial decisions. If you did your research and you and your gut can feel this is the right thing that you're supposed to do it. Go for it. People said the same thing when I went to teach. Oh, those who can't go teach. And I'm like, okay, well, now I have a whole business about it. So what now? Right?
Well, and I think that it is important to say too, when you're asking somebody's advice on something, you want to make sure you're asking someone's advice that has done what you've done.
Correct.
Because going back to investing, how can someone that doesn't invest give advice on how to invest? And that's so important. And I think as women, we love to, we're very nurturing and communal and want to talk about all these things. But it is so true that you empower someone to go out and find the information. Let them go out and find it. And admittedly, when someone comes to you and it's something that you're not comfortable with or you haven't done, to say, that's out of my wheelhouse is amazing. And I think that going back to the grit and what your parents obviously taught you is everything is figure outable isn't just about money. It's about talking to the program director and being a thought leader for your life. I have mentioned this a few times on different shows, but it drives me crazy when people tell their kids just because it's go to college. Because in our generations, and the one probably before us and the one after us, college was the end all be all. And they want these young people to go out and take on all the student loan debt for a job that when they leave, they'll never be able to pay for 25 years. And the fact that you figured that out and said, this is another path that I can be successful in, that I'm setting myself up in a way that I'm comfortable, is an incredible testament to your parents and how you were raised to figure it out. It's incredible.
Even though they weren't happy at first.
I know, but they came around to it.
But they didn't understand. They were like, what is Cath Lab? I'm like, I'm not 100%.
But I'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. And I've seen these people. I've talked to these people who are successful and I don't completely understand what they're explaining to me. But like they're doing the things and paying the bills and have the opportunity. So why can't I have the opportunity? And I really didn't know until I was probably a year into the program of like what exactly it was, which is why I have the platform I do now, because I try on my YouTube channel. I'm like, if someone's watching this and has absolutely no idea what we do, please ask me.
Yeah.
If you're like, what do I do with my life? This sounds interesting. Like you can do it if you want. Just reach out to that person. And social media is amazing now where you see people like with these jobs you haven't heard of and how did you get this? What degree did you have? And I did end up getting a master's eventually, but I got it debt-free on my own time and when I was ready and comfortable.
Which shows that the path isn't always the same. Maybe going to trade school first or earning and being able to do it debt-free. If that doesn't scare somebody taking on the debt, then take on the debt.
Yeah.
But again, it's all about figuring out what you're comfortable doing. And it's funny because even though my mom and dad and your parents taught you to think on your feet, figure it out. I remember when I was leaving the fashion industry and said to my mom, I'm jumping into this finance space and there's no salary. You go out, you build a business, you build a book. And the same woman that told me to do whatever I had to do to figure it out and go after what I wanted was like, well, what do you mean? You're leaving 6-figure job that is required to run your life to go do this thing. And I think that it's so valuable what you said. And I hope you guys hold on to that. Don't let something that someone else says because of their own experiences deter you from a path that you're committed to.
Yeah. And I agree 100% because even your mom, like they change in their own seasons of things that happen to their life, you know, and it's very, even for you and me, it's hard sometimes to call ourselves out on that. You know, in the moment we're emotional and we're like, but I want the best for you and I want you to be successful. And I think this is scary for you. Therefore, I'm going to make you feel a little fearful, you know, and we have to check in with ourselves and be like, they're talking through like their head voice, not really what I need and where I'm coming from. And that's fine. Don't completely derail your plan because of it. Like take it in, think about it. Is it valid? Is it not? Are you in alignment with that or not? Do you need to dig a little more and get a little more information? But it's okay to stand up for yourself and be like, I'm sorry that you don't support me, but I look forward to proving you wrong.
Yeah.
And if I fail, then okay.
That's right.
Yeah. Look, you'll have a job to go back to. You can go get a job somewhere else because you built that reputation. Like, that's okay. You can go try other things. So what if this completely falls on your face and you were wrong? Okay. You did it.
I just had this conversation last night with my husband about I would rather our kids fail at something that they wanted to try than not try.
But in the moment, look how scary it is, though, in the moment when they're failing.
I know. It's not easy. And, you know, it even goes to with your kids, like my daughter is in cheer and dance.
Was a cheerleader.
I was too.
Yeah.
And if you ever have a daughter, you're going to be pulled. And it just goes back to, again, that's what I know. So it's like, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to be able to say, oh, you don't like this? Okay, let's pivot to something else.
Yeah.
Okay, so for
it's
people.
the same thing, just not money.
Yeah, it is. It's all interchangeable, really.
Yeah.
All the same dragons to slay and the same tools, just, figuring out how they're applicable.
Yeah.
What, for someone listening, what is one thing that you did really well to prepare for being a business owner? I know you said you squirreled money away, but like when you were going into business for yourself, I mean, it could be anything even within your marriage or conversations with your friends. What did you do well that may encourage somebody else that they can do it?
So entrepreneurship was never on my list. Teaching was never on my list. Working in healthcare was never on my list. But I started listening a little more to universe, whatever it is you believe in. Kind of every single thing was pushing me in this direction. Like every career change that I've done, something at that time was coming, opportunities were coming that I kept closing the door on, and I just finally stopped and listened. So normally I suggest if you're going to be an entrepreneur, it needs to be something that you're very passionate about, because you might not make money right away and you're going to have to grind at it every single day. And if you hate it or you're halfway in it or it's something you're not super passionate about, you're going to burn out so quickly, right? But I always say, like, I'm always going to outwork anybody else who comes into this field and does this. Like, I encourage them to do so, great, but I know my work ethic and my performance and how much I love it. And you have to be able to do that and maybe not see $1 for a while, and lead with integrity and chase quality over quantity. There are deals that have come to the table and I'm not super excited to do business with them, and I won't. And other opportunities will come and kind of fill that void, and maybe bigger opportunities in the future. So number one, it has to be something you are very passionate about and care about, because it's going to come through in like every little piece of content you do. People can tell, like, are they super about this?
Your
or
heart's
are they
in
not?
it or not. That's great advice.
And we're all in that AI world that we just want someone to care about what they're doing, even if I'm not into it. Like, you go doing that buttered popcorn at the movie theater. I can see you're so passionate. If they're passionate about their job, like, I feel that.
Yeah.
Right. And it will lead you to success. And then number two, listen. Like, there are probably things in your life that you're already spending time on and you're very good at. It can be a job. It can make you income. Like, figure that out. Is there opportunity there? There was a very easy one. Find opportunity where other people really are not tapping into that market. So like at UCF, they always did graduation photos. Sorry, photographers. Photographers are very expensive for a college kid, like unless your parents are buying it. Yeah. I said, opportunity. No idea what I'm doing. My dad gifted me his old camera. I could use PicMonkey at the time, pre-Photoshop, and not knowing how to use Photoshop. And I just charged cheaper than everybody else. And I got like 10 clients. It paid my rent for 3 months and I was happy.
Oh my gosh.
And then I never did it again because I was not great at it.
No, but still, look for opportunity. Yeah. I love that.
Just little things. And try it. And then I never did it again. I was like, I hate this. This is not my thing.
But it paid your rent for 3 months.
But it paid my rent for 3 months. And I said, oh, look, I can figure this out. And it gave me a little more confidence to try something else the next time.
What do you think the Samantha from 5 years ago would see now and think, oh my gosh, I'm so impressed by us?
Doing things like this.
Okay.
Talking on the internet. That's a very big one for me. And actually diving into what I was doing for free all of the time anyway, and being comfortable charging for it. Because that was a big one. I was an educator, but I gave a lot of my time and knowledge for free for years to a thankless institution. Mm-hmm. And finally, I got the courage to do it on my own and be comfortable charging for it and my knowledge and my value. Yep. And what I'm worth. And I'm more than happy to support other people who are trying to do the same thing. And I'm like, I know it makes you uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable too, but we're here now, and you just got to push against yourself a little bit.
I heard, and I asked you that question, and I don't remember who said it to me. And if you're listening, claim it. I'm so sorry because it was so awesome. But really, there's only 2 people you need to worry about impressing. And it's the 8-year-old version of you and the 80-year-old version of you.
Oh, I love that.
And isn't that just sends shivers, right? Because it's true. So as long as you're impressing those people, you're doing all right.
Yeah. I shout at people all the time. And I say, truthfully, like, who cares? I mean, if you have a family, you have responsibility, but like outside of that, who cares?
Yeah.
And if they don't like your video or they don't like what you're doing, it doesn't affect their life.
Or
but
yours.
it affects yours if you want to do it and you're not doing it because of.
Oh, that's right. What is the one, coming from a squirrel, what is the one thing that you do for yourself to kind of treat yourself now that you understand that you're in a place where you can? What are those little things that are?
I'm horrible at it. I'm not going to lie.
You still don't do it?
I only go on vacation because my husband
makes me,
schedules it, does all of it. And even then I'm still working on vacation. But now in my mind, I'm like, well, look, I'm working on vacation instead of working at home. Like for me, that's such a big win because I would have never done it otherwise. But it is something I'm pretty bad at, to be honest. And I'm working on it, but I rarely buy things for myself. And I still get in the mindset of, we always say, my husband and I, we don't want a $1.4 million house, but we say, do we want this or do we want a $1.4 million house? And I have that mindset every time I look at something now. So I think scheduling off time is something I need to do, and I'm trying to be more intentional on. And for me, as someone who still hustles, but has really hustled her whole life, learning peace in doing nothing is doing something. And that's, you can hold me accountable, something I'm going to start doing.
I love it. I will. I'm going to check in on you because just those little gifts of whatever it is are important.
To be honest.
So what's next for your business?
Going to do a podcast because I did a lot of QA on my YouTubes. They just need to live somewhere for a shared ecosystem of the academic side of the medical education, of the business, of the management and leadership in hospitals. So I look forward to that and leaning in a little more to the consulting and making time to help other people and take on strategic partnerships. So that's my next big thing of, I know what I'm doing in my business. I have 8 publications in the pipeline that I'm working on for that because I do illustrate and self-publish everything myself. But now that I have that as a decently oiled machine, like where else can I give back my knowledge like you are here and help kind of the next generation of me that wants to do what I'm doing. So look forward to that.
Well, we will make sure to include all of that in the show notes so people can follow along. Where else can they find you?
I'm a little bit of everywhere. So my company names are Don't Miss a Beat, BEAT, like beat for the heart, and Don't Miss the HIS, HIS, which is a component in electrophysiology, very niche. But if you're interested in either of those things of healthcare, of jobs you've never heard of before, I'm the girl. Dive in because it is a well-paying job and it's fun. And then personally at Samantha Propper, PROPPER, and on LinkedIn.
Well, I will say, and I hope that for any of you all listening, the biggest takeaway in all of this is if I had something that you needed, I would always want to bet on someone like you who has that mentality of figuring it out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think that for any of you listening that feel like maybe money isn't something that you have control over in your life right now, or any of these big, scary things, the fake it till you make it thing, there's obviously split camps on that. But what I can encourage all of you to do is remember this conversation, because if you've got the ability to pivot and figure it out, you're not faking anything. You are just always thinking ahead and coming up with something that gives you the security and the guts to go after something. And when people on the other side of the table see that, they are always going to give you what you're asking for above somebody else who might not. So whether it's a job that you want or a promotion or, something from a relationship or money or a business, that's what people want to see. And that is something that we can teach to others. So kudos to you. Thank you for spending time with us today. And I'm excited to hear the podcast and watch all of the amazing things that you do.
Thank you so much.
As always, for the rest of you, I appreciate you spending your time with me here, and let's keep changing the way women think and feel about money together.